Let me just read out the definition that, as we got it from the government, it was at least overnight. This new definition, which comes into force today, extremism is, quote, the promotion or advancement of an ideology based on violence, hatred or intolerance, so good, so far so good, that aims to, 1, negate or destroy the fundamental rights and freedoms of others, or 2, undermine, overturn or replace the UK's system of liberal parliamentary democracy and democratic rights, or 3, this is the key new bit, intentionally create a permissive environment for others to achieve the results in 1 or 2. And this is different from what the old definition was, 2011. That described extremism as vocal or active opposition to fundamental British values, including democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty and mutual respect and tolerance of different faiths and belief. Rather wider description. Does the new description, does that do anything to help us tackle the problem?
First and foremost, I think this is all a bit of a waste of time in that, the government and the security services and the police know who they should and shouldn't be talking to anyway, but they've been doing it nonetheless. And I think what we need is actually a much more holistic method of deciding who and who not to talk to.
What does that mean?
Whether this is the way to do that, I'm not sure.
But what does that mean? Because again, this isn't talking about, people being arrested or being criminally prescribed like Hamas or ISIS or Al Qaeda. This is basically saying, oh, we don't like your views, we think you're a threat, but not criminally so. So we're not going to work with you. You can't have any money from central government, and we'd like local government and every other body, every other quango funded by taxpayers, not to give you the time of day or include you in any meetings or events or pay you anything. I've got to be honest with you. I can't imagine anything more wishy-washy. And yet, at the same time, as someone who champions freedom of speech within the bounds of the law, I'm a little bit worried about who gets to decide what is this ideology that is based on. When you say violence, an ideology based on violence, easy. Hatred, not so easy. Don't approve of hate speech. I think people should be allowed to hate people as long as they're not inciting violence against them. And intolerance. Well, I'm very intolerant of people who think that a trans woman is a woman. Do I come under this extremist view? I'm very intolerant of people who think that you can block the M25 because they quite idiotically think the world is on fire. Does that make them an extremist or me an extremist? And who gets to decide that?
And this is the issue. One man's extremist is another man's mainstream view. And I think we had this same problem many years ago when they were talking about terrorism and people like the Animal Liberation Front who were really quite extreme and actually carrying out terrorist activities. But they didn't want to bring the wide populace into being extreme. So this strikes me as being a bit of a waste of time. I can understand that they may want to give the government departments, etc., some rationale for not talking to people. But listen, we know who these people are already. Yeah. We know who holds these views. The security services know who holds the views, and we shouldn't have been talking to them in the first place.
Yes, so that's what a lot of people will think. Why the hell were we?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just crazy that these people have been allowed to carry on doing what they're doing and receiving funding from the government. Completely crazy.
It is madness.